All right, well, I'm glad to see y'all. Today's topic is going to be very simple. It's importing information into the Sierra software. Now, the import is actually, what do we talk about in import? Well, how do we get a graphic in the software? And the types of graphics that you could import, whether it be vector or rasterized images. We're also going to talk about some alternate types of of information we can bring in too. Information like PLT files, okay? Like if you have ever been involved in the brush and bake side of rhinestoning, okay? Well, you would have a PLT file. So we're going to talk about that too, because the software is also for rhinestones as well as embroidery. So we're going to address all those things. So let me just set up my screen here. Now, the type of graphic file I always import is actually it's going to be a PNG or a JPEG image, or I think you could bring in a bitmap image as well. And they are going to be rasterized images, okay? When we're dealing with vector files, those files are going to be EMF, WMF. You can't bring EPSs in. A lot of your vector files that you get from online sales will probably be like an EPS file. If you have an EPS vector type file, or even an SVG, which is a scalable vector graphic, you could open them up in a graphics program and resave them to another format that Sierra software can bring in. Okay. So when we're opening up a graphic file, from the main Stitch Error screen, you have the import feature here, and you have a graphic file. You also have open an embroidery design and open a hotfix file. We'll talk about the graphic file. When we go to graphic file, you have the ability to open up an image. These are JPEG images, or like rasterized images that you normally have from a website, or clip art images. And you have a vector file image. Now, the image files that you could bring in, the format of those is going to be bitmap, JPEG, paintbrush images, GIF images, target images, which are rarely seen anymore, clipboard format, and as well as PNG. PNG, JPEGs, and bitmaps are pretty much your standard graphic images. When I go to my clip art folder here, you can see that when I go to properties on this, we'll see what format it is. And this is a PNG file. Okay, it's the type of file that it is. I could bring those in. Most of your clip art images will be brought in that way. So if I open up this one here, another thing that distinguishes a rasterized image from a vectored image is the fact that it always has a white background to it, or it may have a black background if it's a PNG. And you can see that white background. It also has a resolution. Like when I zoom into this image, you can see the different colors of red that we have in the image. And that's because of pixelation, okay? A lower resolution image will have some pixels in it, okay? When we go back into file and we go to open graphic file, we go to vector file. The difference between vectors and JPEGs, let's bring it in. Okay. The image will not have a white background. So when I change the background color to red, for instance, we can see we do not have a white background to this image. Also, too, we can actually ungroup this image and work with it in parts. Okay. You also see when we zoom into an image, the image is completely black from one side to one end to the other. These are more cleaner images to work with. Okay? Where the JPEG file, it's a little bit lower resolution. Now, if you're actually on the web, actually pulling up graphics just to practice with, I strongly advise not to use graphics on the internet unless you are sure that there is no licensing infringement when using them. For instance, if I go to Heart and I do clip art, and I go to images, okay? One thing you can do is in Google, if you can go to tools on your image search, and you have usage rights here. and you have labeled for reuse with modification. I mean, these are graphic files that can be used. Hold on, let me just go back. There we go. We go back to tools. Yeah, there we go. Labeled for reuse with modification. Okay, these are images that I can reuse. Okay, so if I grab this image here, first thing I want you to notice is the resolution size right here. 774 by 720 is a much cleaner graphic than what we have on screen now. Let me save this. Okay, I'm going to save it to my folder, and we're going to pull it in, and we're going to see some distinguishing differences between this one and the previous image. Here's my original heart image here, and if I go to File and I go to Open a Graphic File, I go back to that folder. Okay, that image that we brought in the first time, if I go to Details, you can see it's 232 by 217. It's a very low resolution. The higher this number is, the more cleaner our graphic's going to be. This one here, as we saw on the internet, when we go to Details, this is 774 by 720 right here. So it has a lot more detail, a lot more cleaner, a lot more solid colors. So let me go ahead and open this up. And the first thing you're going to notice is the size. Let me go ahead and copy this. Copy. And I'll bring it to the other page that has the other one on it. Number one, the first thing you're going to see is a larger resolution image will actually have a larger size to it. Okay? Let me change the background color. Okay? And when we look at it, look how solid the black is and how solid the red is. When we zoom in on here, you can see the pixelation. Can I use this heart? Absolutely, you can. But you do have to use a certain tool in the software to clean it up. And the reason being is if we're going to convert this to like a rhinestone, like a fill, I go to autocomplete. See the magic wand, you see how it's not coming to a point because of the different colors here? And you could adjust that by simply just taking these numbers up, the minimum region size. If you take this number up, it'll start to select more and more of that red. See, now we're coming into the pink. So one of the things I always do to my graphic images is I clean the image, okay? Let's zoom into here. And if you go to layout, you have color reduction. Right now, if we choose to look for up to 32 colors, you could see all the different colors that it's picking up, okay? Well, we want to reduce this to 3 colors, the white background, the pink, and the maroon. Click on Filter, and we return. See, now we have a more solid color here. This is before, and this is the after. So by cleaning up that image, now when we go to Hotfix and we choose our fill pattern, and we choose our magic wand in autocomplete, you can see now that it's coming down to the point like we want it to, okay? And the pink looks pretty good as well, okay? Before, when we clicked on it, even on the pink, it might pick the pink okay because it looks pretty solid. But right down here, you can see it's not coming down to the point there. So let's go back to where let's go forward. Sorry, let's go forward, and I'm going to go to click on the image, layout, color reduction, reduce it back down to 3 colors. Don't forget the white background because if the only colors you see right now is pink and maroon, but it does have a white background. If you do choose 2, it blends the pink with it blends the red with the colors, and then you're going to get the white background and the pink. It negates one of the colors. So now when we do this and we go ahead and click on our hotfix, we choose our fill. We can see now we're coming down to that point there. Okay. Click on enter, and there's the stones. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do this other one. Okay. This one here doesn't need so much, okay? When I click on this, because now you can see it's a little jagged here because it is picking up on some color there. So even on a higher resolution image, you still want to reduce colors. So let's go to layout, reduce colors to 3 colors, the black, the red, and the white background. Yeah, for some reason, it blended my white with the black. So let me just do this. And that's because it's a PNG image. A PNG image, a portable network graphic, actually combines the background color. The true nature of the background color is actually black. So on this type of image here, I would want to, if I want to reduce colors, I would want to convert it to a vector. And that, see, now it's not even seeing the white there as well. Let me go to filter. So we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to vectorize this. Let me combine these colors together and vectorize, and there we have the heart. There we go. So now we have a vector. Okay. A couple things I can see in there, and we're going to talk about that at a later date, but the different types of nodes. Right here, it should be a corner node, so it comes to a point. You can see this is more rounded. And I could choose a corner node here. And with a corner node, I can actually adjust this so it comes to a point. There we go. Okay. So they're the differences in graphics. Okay, any questions so far? On this image here, after I cleaned my image up, okay, then of course I would want to size the image, okay? Again, I don't have to convert this to vector, but if I do convert this to vector, it's pretty easy. Okay, if I hit filter, it's only going to see the 3 colors we reduced to, and we vectorize. Now it's a solid vector. You can see how sharp the lines are, okay? By the way, you don't have to convert to vector every time, okay? We do have some issues here where there we go, so where it's not completely rounded. There it is. By moving the node, you can do that. You don't really have to. I can, unless I was going to make some subtle change to the art, is when I really need to convert it to a vector. Things like splitting this up into different sections so I have multiple colors inside here. If I was going to do like an American flag, you know, I could change this outside to blue, click on the heart itself, and then, you know, if you right-click in version 17, you have split object, and I could like just draw a split line. Come out to the other end, and now we have the red, and then we could do this white. So doing changes like that, it would actually allow me to, I could only do them if the image was a vector. But if the image was solely going to be just this pink, I'm just going to have just like this, okay, before I vectorize it, okay. And then we don't have to do anything but reduce the colors. After this, I would resize the image. And we'll make this about 5.5. Okay, make a big heart there. And get rid of this one. And we can convert this to rhinestones or embroidery. Okay, click on the rhinestone, click, enter, and I'll just turn on my 3D so you can see. I'll just choose an S6 red, set my bead space into 5. You can see how it's a little bit weird there, so I'm just going to add a little bit of margin, squeeze the stones together a little bit. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and put a border to this thing. So I'll go to Hotfix, and I will choose Path with Hotfix. I'm going to choose my stone to be an SS16. Let's go to an SS16 blue. Go to autocomplete. I'm going to use auto center path. It's going to put a line right down the center there. I'm not sure why it's not doing it on this side. Let me just go ahead and go auto-complete. All right, and let's see. Let's go to select object. Let's delete the inside one. And for some reason, this line right here is really not clean at all. Let's go to 5. Oh, I know why. There it is. And there's the conversion. Okay. If you wanted this a little closer, because now this is a little bit of advanced stuff here now. Okay. If you notice, one of the things I really like doing is actually using the auto center path here on this graphic. And what it's supposed to put is a solid line, but apparently it's only doing on one side of the heart. Okay. So what I would be tempted to do is, you can do it manually, but instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my graphic, because it's the cleanliness of the graphic that's causing the problem. And what I'll do is I'll convert the rhinestones to a vector. And just like that, now you can see I have a vector file, okay, right behind my graphic. Let me just turn off my Hotfix view, and you can see now I have a graphic. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to set another border to it, and we'll make the thickness of the border real thick, just like the last one. Okay. Let's turn on our Hotfix again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, actually I could just click on here and just add a border right here. That's one way I could do it automatically. It puts a border on there. Okay, that's one way you could do it. And then what I'll do is take my margin to 0, so the red is up against tightly with the blue stones. That's one way you can do it. Another thing I can do with this, let's turn on the, sometimes I like to do stuff like this. Okay, let me go ahead and turn on the Hotfix. Now let's go ahead and convert this to a vector. Okay, with that, you're going to see I get the blue outline as well. Okay, now what I'll do is I am going to right click, and I'm going to use a tool called, let me see, hold on. Let me find it. It's contour with offset. I'm going to use a custom contour, and I'm going to tell it to be about 0.150 away from the image. That's too close. Layout, contour with offset, and I'm just going to choose custom again. 0.19, let's go 0.125. This is how far away from the image. There we go. So now we have another contour line in which I can go to, it's a vector, so I'm going to go to Smart Design, go to Hotfix, I'm going to choose a multiple color stone. And let's go ahead and go, by the way, you can set it to 3 stones if you wanted to. And what I'll do is I'll change the colors. I want it to be, let's go to Add a Bead. This is all advanced stuff here that you can do. A lot of people didn't even know you can do this, but I'm going to go to SS16 stone, and we'll use an amethyst. All right, and then we'll add another bead. Go to SS16, maybe we'll go to a clear. And we'll add one more SS16 stone. And we'll add a green. We'll do a Christmas look to it. Okay. All right. So let's turn on a Hotfix. Okay. Let's go ahead and click on this this border. Okay. Let me turn off the border here because I don't really want the border. I actually want my own. And this is what we're going to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here. We got the blue already. We're going to change the SS4 to the SS16 clear, and we're going to add a new bead to it. So now we'll have 3, and we'll change the aquamarine to the green SS16. And let's go ahead and change. You can change your spacing here. Let's go to 0.79, so it's all the same. And there you have it. So you can do like a Christmas light thing around it, okay? By the way, changing your spacing really adds a dynamic to it. You can actually make these 0.100, and maybe the spacing on the second color stone, which would be your silver, your clear, maybe we'll do like 0.150, and then we'll do a 0.200. So increasing our spacing between colors. You can see what it does when we change the background color. You can see what you do. A little bit of advanced stuff there, but that's the things that you could do off of a vector. Those graphics that I did. Okay, let me go ahead and just turn this Hotfix. These are all vectors. You can actually utilize those any way you want. Okay, I could still use the border here to bring it out even more. Just go ahead and convert it to a turn the border on. So I'm going to go. Let me turn the Hotfix on. Maybe I want to put a clear stone, like a clear SF6 stone around this to bring it out even more. Just turn the border on. All right. And change the stone from an SF16. Let's go to a, no, I'm not going to go to a red SS. It doesn't make sense. We'll go to aquamarine. We'll set the bead spacing. And there you go. Okay, there's a lot of things you can do. You can even build off of this vector line with another contour line and make it fade out. A lot of different looks you can do. You can incorporate with this. Okay. All right, that's dealing with that was just a JPEG that we used to convert, and then we used the Rhinestones to convert it to a vector and build off of it from there. Any questions so far? I haven't lost anybody yet, have I? Let me see. Any questions here? Okay. All right. All right, let's continue on. A couple other format files you can actually bring in is these add-on features. We can actually open up from here. You can open up a design file, which is already created design that you've been working on. Whether it's if you have embroidery, it would be insert embroidery machine file, which would be a DST file, a Hotfix machine file, or a stencil file. The stencil file is actually a PLT file. Okay. Now let me see if this computer has any PLTs on it at all. No, I don't have any PLT files on here at all. So I can't show you. What a PLT file is actually a file that's a Hotfix file, but you were using it to cut flock material so you could brush your rhinestones through it and then pick it up with a transfer. You would save as a PLT, and then what you can do is if you went to like a different machine, an automatic machine, you can actually import those PLT files and have them convert to rhinestones and automatically send it to your automatic machine. That's the other file format that you can do. Of course, we don't have any on this computer to show you, but that is an add-on. It doesn't come standard with the software, but it's something that you could add on. I think it's $125. So if you have a bunch of designs that you did brush and bake with, and you just got yourself a Spangle machine or an automatic machine, you can actually bring all those PLT files and send them off to that machine nice and easy. Okay? All right, importing vector files. Okay, now vector files, let's go ahead and do that one now. Graphic, and we'll choose a vector file. The formats that you could open up in a vector file are WMFs, Windows Meta Files, EMFs, CDRs, Corel Presentation Exchange, which I haven't seen at all, Adobe Illustrator files, DXF, which are Drawing Exchange files, which is basically just a vinyl cutting type file that you cut vinyl with before. And you can actually open up SVG files. Didn't know this was there. Now the PLT files here are actually just going to come in as circle shapes. All right, it's not going to come in as rhinestones. Okay. But anyway, all these files that you see up here are EMF files. And once you click on them, like I said, they open up. They're very clean images. Okay. They're also an ungroupable image. So if I can ungroup this, and we can start taking it apart. Okay, and you can see the way that a vector file is built in layers. They first put a black background in the shape of this egret, and then they start layering on top these other colors. okay, until we got this image, okay? One of the things we always want to do with vectors, okay, whether we're creating embroidery or whether we're creating rhinestones, is we need to cut the holes for these layered objects. In other words, when I click on the black, I don't want to fill this with black rhinestones and then have red on top of that. I need to cut this red shape out of that black. And I need to cut these shapes, these red shapes for the legs out, also on the tail. If I move this aside, you'll see that it's solid black. And it's combining vectors into one layer. To do it, you highlight the entire job, and then if you right-click and go to Combine Vectors, you choose Simplify, and it cuts all those layers out. Now we lost the leg. Hold on, let me go back. Let me check the size of this. Yeah, it's a pretty big image. So let me click on the black background. Hold my control button. I'm going to click on all these other sections here. And I'll do the two parts of the right here. Click on the tail sections. So everything is now selected that I really need to cut out. Let's go ahead and go over here to the eyes. Still holding the control button. Now we'll right click and we'll simplify. And what we did, we just cut holes out. You see that? Oop, didn't mean to do that. So what we did is now we just layered this object, this vector file better. So now we're not going to have a bunch of stones behind there. That's just simple things you can do with a vector file. Okay. Another thing you can do with a vector file, let's go ahead and open up a different file. We'll choose something a little bit more fun to work with. There's no way I would do that egret and rhinestones. There's just no way that would happen. Let's go ahead and choose this file here. It's an inchworm, okay? Same thing, always inspect your graphic. Ungroup it. Separate the colors and look how the image is built, okay? You can see that behind the eyes, you know, there's a big black object, okay? We need to cut that out. So what I'll do is I'll highlight the whole entire thing, and then we'll simplify this image. Now when we pull that green out, we now have the green cut out of that black as well as the eyes. So now what I could do is I could highlight and go to Layout, resize my image for maybe a bag. I put this on a bag. Let's go to 6.5 inches width. And then we can go to our stones. If you're doing embroidery, you can actually do stitches right now. But for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an SS10 green. I'm going to use a peridot. It's a nice bright green.
Alan, I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I just want to give you a little behind the scenes. We are actually doing another one of our Tech Talks today on Hotfix era. So what Alan Grifton is doing is he is training some folks that have bought the software and equipment from us just as part of our ongoing education. And usually we get a great turnout for these software ones, but that's just one of the things that ColDesi does to help you achieve your dream.
All right, now that we built our rhinestone palette up, now we can start converting the different parts of the shape to rhinestone. So for instance, what I would do is I click on the black stones first, okay, because it's the background color, okay, and then you would just click on where the black is going to go, and click on Smart Design, and I'll just choose my fill pattern. Set my bead spacing. And if I don't like the way that fill looks, sometimes I'll turn off the, I don't like the way that fill, it doesn't look enough, so I might want to use an SS6 stone for that. Click on Add a Bead, choose the SS6 stone, pick the color and add it to your palette, and then change it. Just like that. And one of the things about the software is actually the ability to change things to like a hexagon fill, which fills it in a little bit more precisely. You can see that looks a lot better now. What it does is staggers the fill, where you have 2 stones and 1 stone underneath it, 2 stones and 1 stone in the middle. Okay. Turn back on the auxiliary. Turn back on the auxiliary again. Now we'll actually choose the green stone, and I'll turn off the hotfix view for now. Click where the green's going to go. Use Smart Design and use my fill pattern. Set my bead spacing. Let's take a look at that. Now we'll do the, okay, so now I'm going to turn off my hotfix. Choose yellow now. Click where the yellow is going to go, and I'm just going to hold my control button and select both of these. And we choose fill. Let's turn off the auxiliary and let's take a look at our image. And I'm going to choose the yellow, and I'm going to set my bead spacing. We'll set both to 2. There we go. The last thing I'm going to want to do, and I'm just going to set this to a hex. I'm going to set the green to a hexagon fill just to see if it fills better, because it's a little bit open here, and that's just because the image size. Let me try a hexagon fill, see how that looks. Not really liking that. Change it to a flexible fill. See how this looks, and that just looks too linear. Yeah, it looks too linear, so I'm just going to go back to my radial fill. I'm going to set my bead spacing and maybe change the green to an SS62 just to get the detail that I really want. Go to the peridot, add it, and I think that's going to get me right where I want to be. So, of course, the last step of the project is actually combining solving overlaps. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and there we go. So we have a little bit of fixing here to do. It looks like the black rhinestones look better as a radial fill. So I just converted it to a radial fill. I'm just going to set my bead spacing down to 2. There we go. And I'm going to reset my green as well. And let's go ahead and let's do the solve overlap again, see if we get a much cleaner image. And I may have to put full stones here to capture the black here. But that's a simple nature of actually what you can do with a vector file. Of course, if the image was low, we'd have the area to get all the detail. When we do that, of course, all the stones that we need. Let's turn off the auxiliary and see what we got. So we have a much more image here. Use your node, editing your nodes to actually reshape it to fill a little bit more consistently. Pulling these nodes up a little bit, giving a little bit more room, you get the stones that you need to fill. Okay. Got some questions here. Let's again answer those questions. Will this apply to embroidery? Yes, it will. Okay, let's go back. Let's get rid of all my stones here. Okay, just show you how quickly and easy it is. Let's get rid of all my rhinestones here. Let's convert this image to embroidery. Okay. By the way, since I didn't really edit this image, if I found this as a clip art image, I wouldn't have to convert it to a vector. It just so happens that it is a vector. Let's go ahead and layout. Let's change the sizes to 6.5 inches. Okay. And what I would do is simply just click on the black. Actually, what I would do is this. Click on the black color first in the color library. And then click on embroidery and choose your fill type, which is going to be a uniform area. I would want this to be flat. Choose a pattern fill. Actually, you can choose your black right here. Set my underlay to a medium density. Pull compensation to fix because it is a fill stitch. And then I use my autocomplete tool, my magic wand tool, to click on the black, hit enter. It will convert the colors to stitches, just like that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to choose green. Click on the green, hit enter. All right, and then I'm going to click on yellow. Now click on the eye. Let's turn off our auxiliary. Let's take a look at this in 3D. Okay, let's go View, Simulation, and there's our inchworm. Okay, we could do different things like changing the stitch direction. We'll clean up that eye real quick. You see that link between the eyes where the thread is jumping over? We could fix that as well just by telling it to do a thread trim. Click on the other eye. Click the other eye, there it is. And change no to a yes. You'll see the little linkage there is all gone. Change the stitch direction on the green. Put a little angle to it. It'll reflect color differently. And there you have it. Now it's really coming in bad right here because of my graphic. And what I'm going to do is actually increase my pull compensation here to a fixed medium. And that should put some of it behind the green because you want that overlap. You want that green to overlap the black so there's no gaps. We go to a medium. It just, when you go from small, medium, it just how much more overlap there's going to be. We want the same thing. Eyes. We have some overlap, but probably not enough up here. So I'll just choose my fill to be a fixed medium. It should overlap nicely there, and then we'll do the same thing over here. And if you're concerned with any areas, you can just bring these nodes down. Automatically will fill the area with stitches. And they got it. Okay. I think we had other questions here. Let me see. Okay. Are there other styles of lettering? And can I spangle with my Hotfix R17? Yes. Let me answer the spangle one first. Okay. When you have spangle, converting things to spangles is changing the Hotfix element. Right now I have rhinestones in here. Well, when you go to the Hotfix catalog, you do have rhinestones, rhinestuds, nail heads, and of course spangles. Now, Coleman & Company colors are going to be in the standard round. And there you have it. You got 1.2, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4. We don't sell a 5. Well, we do have a 5 millimeter punch. We have a 6. We even have a standard star type punch and a flower. Okay, so you have all those. And these are the Coleman & Company colors. Okay, so your CS is basically your gloss. Okay, like the, and then you have holographic, which are HS. Okay, and then you have your matte colors, which are the MS. And they're all the colors that the company has. Okay. And you just convert the parts of the object to spangle instead of rhinestones. That's all. Are there other styles of lettering? Cynthia, what do you mean how other styles of lettering? Can you elaborate on a little bit more on that? For embroidery or Hotfix, like rhinestones. The two are very different. Okay. For instance, let me say I wanted to put some text underneath this inchworm. Let's go ahead and move the inchworm up a little bit. Let's turn the auxiliary. Let's get rid of the auxiliary. Now, there's two ways of doing text. Yes, for embroidery. Okay, she answered. Okay, so when I go to artwork, you have a text feature here. Now, what this does, it actually puts the text in as a graphic. Bookworm, okay? And basically what you do, you set your size of your font here. You choose your type of font you want to use. This works off of any font that's actually in your Windows library, okay? And I'm just going to click on OK. And we are just going to choose it to be a fill, okay? So it's basically just the word bookworm. Now this is a graphic, okay? This is not stitched, okay? Basically what I do is just edit it, just like there. And then if we want to convert this to stitches, all we got to do is simply ungroup first, okay? And you want to ungroup this. Let me resize it. And once it's ungrouped, then you're just going to convert it from Smart Design into Embroidery, and we'll do a turning area. And let me just change now. And there we go. So let me turn off the auxiliary, and there you have your stitches. Now, this is actually a pretty big stitches, so I'm just going to set no pull compensation, which is going to show you the font in its truest form there. Let me just click on the B, and right now everything's at 15%. So I'm just going to set this to 0. Okay, and on through it. Okay, a couple other things we can do with that font, okay, is that we can actually divide this font and make it different colors. For instance, since it is a vector, we can choose. Let's go to split object. Let's go and do like a nice little shape through here. It's going to do the same thing to the O. And what I'm doing is dividing in half. So we have a top half, bottom half will be green. And we can go through this, okay, and make it just the colors of the inchworm. Down. There we go. And once you've done all that, you can basically just highlight this whole thing, and you go through, and you go to Art to Stitch here, Intelligent, and what this will do, it'll actually do the stitches in intelligent mode. In other words, it recognizes the color and the shape, and it'll fill the stitches in automatically, just like that. Okay. So when we take a look in the view, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see a little bit better. There you go. And you put your thread trims in there just like we did before. You would just click on each section and turn the no to a yes. Okay. But you can use those different things in the vector form, the artwork, and the text in the artwork. That's one thing you could do. Another way you can actually do text is lettering. And then from here you got digitize, which allows you to choose a pre-digitized font. Okay. It'll open up here in just a second. And these are the fonts that come with the software. Okay, you got several to choose from. You basically a font. Let's go to a children's. By the way, if it's all capitals, mean there's no lowercase in that letter style. If it is capitals and lowercase, then you have both. If you get confused about that, you have a character map which shows you all the characters that are available in the font that you chose. As you can see, there are no lowercase in here. Okay, so we do bookworm, hit enter, and it comes in just that. We'll set our height of our font to 1.0 inch. And with this, you can actually do other things, like you can actually arch it. You can manipulate that arch. Put it over the top of the page one. copy and paste, and what I'll do is I'll just put in the background color, we'll make it green. And now we have this kind of drop shadow to it. You click on the back bookworm and tell it to do thread trims after each letter. We click on the forward part of it, which is the yellow, and we do the same thing. In the view menu on the simulation, you can see what we have. Okay, is that answer your question, Cynthia? In the artwork text, you cannot arch. Okay, it doesn't come automatically. You can arch, however. You just have to break your font up. For instance, let's go ahead and do it. When I went to artwork, I went into text, and we typed in bookworm. And if we wanted this to be arched, okay, so let me click on the check marks. And then let me just convert this real quick to stitches. Right click, ungroup. Down here. And then we will convert this to embroidery and go to Smart Design. This is the object manager. We'll take my poke 15 stitches. So I'm going to go to underlay. I'm going to set the right underlay to a zigzag. We'll go down to pole compensation and change this to maybe a 5. All right. Let's turn the auxiliary off, and there it is. So now if I wanted to arch this, okay, I would need to reposition this, and if you hold your control button, you could just start to move and start to rotate your image until you have this arched effect. Or you could actually just do what I'm doing here. Maybe just put it in there like a kid would spell it with blocks. Okay. All right. Any other questions out there? Well, I hope you learned a lot from this tech talk. It's my pleasure to actually do these. I love sharing what I've learned on the software. Something new with the software. Different things that you can do, and a lot of you have provided me some projects where I had to think through it and so it's a fun endeavor. So I hope you all have a great week, and we'll talk to you again. I think 2 weeks from now. All right, take care, everybody.